What's up, guys? My name's Captain Dave, and welcome back to the Captain's Quarters, the video in which I go through and answer all of your questions and comments from last time's video. So, before we get into the questions, I have two little bits of information to give to you. The first being, I always mean to do this at the start of every Captain's Quarters, and I always forget. It's basically, when you leave your comments for me to answer, if I go through and I do not read your question out, that isn't my personal choice. It's sometimes YouTube can be a little bit weird. Whether you click on the video and go into the comment section, or actually, like as a YouTube creator, go into your comments section for each video, for some reason, even though there's a spam filter, I go through and I approve all of them, unless they are spam, but I'm lucky, I don't really get spam that much. But I go through and approve all the comments that sometimes get marked as spam. Like sometimes if you comment a lot, which is perfectly fine, or if you leave links, they get marked as spam. So I always go through and I approve them all, so they get put back on the normal comment list. But for some reason, you can be on even one of those pages and you can refresh it several times, and some questions will appear and then some will disappear every time you refresh it. I don't know why. I absolutely don't know why. It must just be some sort of bug, but it's happened for as long as I can remember. So if I don't read out your question, it's not really my personal choice. It's just something buggy happens with YouTube. But if you really want me to answer it and I haven't answered it, leave it again. And the odds of it happening twice in a row to your question is very unlikely. So if I don't read out your question, just leave it again, and I'm sure I'll answer it next week. But that being said, the second piece of information is something that I think a lot of you are going to be very, very happy with, and that is, as of yesterday, I have finally purchased a webcam. So for all of you who have always been saying, Dave, what do you look like? Dave, we want to see what you look like. As early as next week's Captain's Quarters, that might just become a reality. I mean, I haven't even got it out of the box yet, haven't got it all sorted, so I need to still tinker around with that. But I think a week should be enough time for me to get that done, and then you guys might actually finally see what I look like. Which, I know for some of you is probably not really that big a deal, and for me, I don't really tend to mind either way, but I know a lot of you have been really curious as to what I look like, so your questions may finally be answered next week. I say next week. It depends. I might tease you even longer because I'm a jerk. But yeah, and then after that, like if the whole webcam thing goes well, the natural progression of this Captain's Quarters is I might eventually start live streaming it, because as I predicted, and I mean it's taken a good year, so it's lasted a lot longer than I thought, but the questions are starting to get less and less, and that's not a bad thing, because the natural progression of where I saw this going was eventually live streaming it, so answering the questions from last week and answering questions live as you're joining me on the live stream. So that's the natural progression. So the fact the comments are getting less and less is actually kind of a good thing. It makes these Captain's Quarters a lot more bite-sized, and it allows me to eventually move on to live streaming, so that should be good. But anyway, with that being said and done, let's get on to the questions, and we start with Kyle F06 FIFA. Hey Dave, are you ever thinking of playing some DC Universe? I've been asked that one quite a bit. I don't know, it's like everyone tells me that DC Universe is actually very good, but because it's one of those sort of games, those online games, I've got the feeling that I need to set aside quite a bit of time to get into it. And right now I have no real desire to get into it at the moment, but I've got a feeling it'll be probably one of those games, if I ever did, I'd become obsessed with it, so I want to make sure that when I do start playing it, I've got the time to play it. So, I don't know, possibly for the future, but right now I don't really have too much of a desire. Kyle also asked, can you get a webcam for these videos? Well, there you go. I have just answered yours and many other people's prayers that you might finally get to see what I look like, possibly starting from next week. Jedwardo333 said, where did the name Captain of Dave come from? I've answered this one several times before, but I'll give you the very short, very abridged version. I obtained a PS3. I really wanted to play my game and forgot the username that I wanted to give myself. I didn't want to put loads of letters and X's and numbers and stuff like that, so I just cycled through loads of different variations of names that I could come up with, and Captain Dave, or CPT Dave, was one of them. It worked. I figured that'll do for now, I'll make a new one later. I'm lazy, never did make a new one later. And then when I started doing gameplay videos, because I started off doing stuff like Call of Duty, it had my clan tag on there. So, and my gamer tag. So then I just made my channel. I was going to just call it Captain Dave, but that had already been taken. So again, went through loads of different variations, came up with Captain of Dave, bish, bash, bush. There we are, done and dusted. But yeah, the longer story is pretty much the same, just with a lot more backstory. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Unfortunately, I'd love it to have some grandiose story of how one day I saved a fellow man, and from then on I was the captain. But no, it was literally because I forgot my original username, which I remembered sometime later, and it was going to be Wookie Monster, just because why not? So who knows? This could have been like the captain's quarters, or like the I don't know, let's talk with Wookie Monster. Wookie Monster's cookie jar or something like that. The whole look of this show could have been completely different. Trantra B said, what about the Hulk versus Batman? Oh, was there a DC Marvel crossover, Hulk versus Batman? I did not know that. I might have to look into that. That might actually be kind of cool. Yeah, because I imagine it'll be kind of sort of like brains against brawn, really, with Batman versus Hulk. That'd be kind of cool. I might have to look into that. Tangiel Malik said, there's also been rumours that the protagonist for the next Mass Effect is Shepard's son/daughter. Personally, I don't believe it, but I'm still saying the indoctrination theory is true and Shepard is still alive. Also, how's the new channel trailer going? Alright, so first off about the whole next Mass Effect, I think I agree with you. I don't believe that it's going to be Shepard's son or daughter. They've come out and said a few times that it's not going to be linked to Shepard in any way. Like, even in the leaked like synopsis. I think I put in I either put it in the description of the Captain's Quarters last week. I know I definitely put it in the description to the Untitled podcast number 2, but I think it was in the Captain's Quarters last week as well. But yeah, it. Oh, sorry about that. I just completely choked on my own tongue. But yeah, so they, even in the plot synopsis that was leaked, they said that it's far removed in both space and time from Shepard and their story. I think that's kind of their way of, that way they can go on with a story and have the ending of Mass Effect 3 not really affect. Because that's basically, the end of Mass Effect 3 changed the whole universe. And I'm assuming other universes, or at least that universe in itself. So, it's such a grand change that happened with either Synthesis, Control, or Destroy. There's no way they can just wrap that up so all three of them then end up going into the same story. It would be really hard and it would feel really rushed, I think. So what they've said is it's far removed in both space and time. So I feel that this is so far in the future that they have now travelled to a new universe. And in that way the effects of Mass Effect 3 don't exist because it's only contained in that one universe. That's what I feel is where they're going, and they said that's what they say in the leaked thing. It said far removed in both space and time. So I feel that's the way to not only get away from Shepard and everything that's happened, but also the end of Mass Effect 3. And it's so far in the future that maybe those effects have now been rendered null and void. Like, society is kept up, caught up if you've done Destroy. Maybe if it's Control, Shepard left with the Reapers, or if it's Synthesis, maybe the whole technology and organic thing has just become one now. It's not like this great new thing, but yeah, so I think it's going to be completely separate from Shepard. Nothing to do with that at all. And the indoctrination theory, I never liked that. I know a lot of people did, but as the creators even said at the end of Mass Effect 3, like, it's how, as the game has always been, it's your interpretation of how you want to take it. And that's something they've always said. A lot of people said that was them taking a cop out, but no, I think that's perfectly true. Like, the way you look at Mass Effect, even though you have choices, everyone's perception is how they see it. Like, who you choose to romance is your choice. It's how you see them as characters. What ending you chose is how you personally feel is the best ending. There isn't one ending that's better than another. It depends on how you see that ending. Some see the Control ending being like a Shepard's basically being like the Reapers, like being the elusive man trying to control everything, where other people see as Shepard being a protector in the Control ending, and like a vanguard for peace. So it's entirely your own perception of how you see the ending. So some people like the indoctrination theory. I personally think there's too many holes. Like, if you watch the indoctrination theory video, then and just take it on face value, then yes, it's very compelling. If it drives a very good point home. But if you actually try and look into the indoctrination theory, and like, other than the things that they tell you, actually do your own research and look into it, there's a lot of holes. There's like, everything they look at proves the indoctrination theory, but they don't look at the things that disprove it. So I think basically the indoctrination theory in my mind is just like fan fiction. It's just something someone's come up with, and for some reason it gained a lot of traction. I don't know why, but I've never been a fan of it. I just think I don't know, I'm just not a fan. But yeah, also you said, how's the new channel trailer going? It's on hiatus at the moment. in fact. I mean, the one good thing did come out of the new channel trailer. It gave me the idea for to restart the Captain's Classics. So, I mean, there was that good thing that came out of it. You guys reminded me of so many cool moments. But, yeah, it's like, it would have been done a long time ago by now. But, this is another reason why I want to upgrade all my equipment. My Sony Vegas is a pain in the ass. Like, bear in mind, this is editing software. Like, the whole premises behind editing is you're altering the video footage you already have, mashing loads of different bits together. In my Sony Vegas, if I put in more than, like, 8 different clips, it crashes and loses the whole save file, and I have to start again, which is what has happened. And it's a pain in the ass. Like my original channel trailer, I had to edit and render that in 6 different video files, then put those 6 different video files together and render them as one. It crashed every time. I mean, what is the point in video editing software if you can't edit videos? I mean, it's just ridiculous. It really is. So, yeah, but it's the Dave luck that always follows me. Anytime I come up with a great idea, like creativity, I put in the time and the effort, and basically everything else lets me down. But sounds a bit like Eeyore-ish, like, oh, why does it always rain on me? But that's the truth, I'm afraid. So it's on hiatus. It's deadline month right now at university, so I'm just focusing on the the Captain's Quarters, the podcast, the 2 gaming videos, Captain's Classics. I'm just focusing on that stuff right now whilst doing my coursework, and then once that is done and dusted, I'm going to get working on a channel trailer again, and also start work on the new comic book series I was thinking of. So yeah, that's what's going on with that at the moment. Okie pokey. So, the next question is from Yusuf Yassir. Hey Dave, how's it going? It is going fantastic. How are things going with you, Yusuf? I enjoyed the Untitled podcast, and to answer your question about the 6 superhero powers question, I meant as in you have 6 separate powers and you have to come up with a superhero name. Also, the question I asked a few weeks ago about creating 2 superheroes for my homework, I took your advice. I made both characters have ancestors who had powers, but for my second character, the drunken alcoholic, I made him only half biotic, and his father was an alien who had invulnerability and energy powers. My English teacher loved it and gave me an A. Oh, that's fantastic. Congratulations, mate. I'm happy for you. So I have 2 questions for you. My first one is, have you seen the Batman vs Superman trailer? I'll send a link. My second question is, if you had to choose one character to hang out with, who will it be, Grunt or Spider-Man? Also, I have exams all next week. Any advice? Thanks, you are awesome. Keep up the good work and have a good rest of your day. Okay, so I'll go through these one at a time. First off, congratulations on getting the A. I'm glad I helped if I did at all. First question, have I seen the Batman vs Superman trailer? Yes, I have. And we discussed it heavily in the second episode of the Untitled podcast. So if you want to go over there, me and Tommy go into great detail discussing that trailer and every other trailer that had been released. Quite a few had. So yeah, go over to the Untitled podcast and we have a great breakdown of all of the trailers. Oh dear. And oh yeah, if I had to hang out a character, who would it be? I actually got this question last week or the week before, Grunt or Spider-Man. And as much as I love that tank-bred baby boy Grunt of mine, it's got to be Spider-Man. Always going to be Spider-Man. And lastly, you have any exams next week? Any advice? Well, by this point, I mean, the week's already passed, so I'm probably a little bit late on the advice. But the best thing I can say is just the same sort of thing you're going to get from everybody else. Just study up. I mean, what I did, like, over 10 years ago when I was doing my GCSEs, was there were some subjects I was really quite good at, so I focused quite heavily on the ones I wasn't as good at to try and make sure I got as much research and as much revision into that as I can. As a result, those 2 subjects being science and English, I got B's in them, which I was very happy with, because I was worried I wasn't even going to pass them. The subjects I were good at, like stuff like math, I got a C in, because I didn't focus as heavily on it. So like revise and stuff, or the subjects that you're really not confident in, but make sure you still do revise the ones you are confident in, otherwise you'll kind of end up having things flip-flop, like I did. But also, Yusuf also asked underneath that, did you see Avengers 2? It's so good, but just to be fair, I'm going to talk more about it next week so I don't spoil anything. Yes, I did. I went to the midnight release of Age of Ultron, and I might still be in the honeymoon period, but I think right now it is my favourite Marvel movie thus far. It was fantastic. It's the only word I can use to describe it. The way the characters interact with each other is brilliant. The world feels so lived in, and I feel like they're finally at a point where they don't always have to backstory everything. Now they're at a point that, like, great, you know these characters, you know who they are, you know the Avengers, they hang out great. Avengers Tower, looked amazing. It looks so good. It's just great. Everything. I'm not going to give any spoilers because it's a bit too soon really to give spoilers. As of next week, it would have already come out in America. It would have been out in England for a good week or so. So I think after that, spoiler city. But as of right now, I won't really talk about Age of Ultron because I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it just yet. But in next week's Captain's Quarters and definitely in next week's Untitled podcast, we're going to be going greatly in depth into Age of Ultron. But man, I think it's the best one so far. So good. AJ Singh said, "What do you think of the new Batman vs Superman trailer?" There you go. I've just answered that one for you, or at least I answer it heavily in the Untitled podcast. Oh yeah, that's the point. Yeah, I said I answered that quite heavily in the Untitled podcast, but I never actually gave you a brief answer now. Yeah, I loved it. Sorry, what I'm doing, I'm jumping ahead there. I thought it was I was going to completely backtrack there, but I thought it was okay. I thought it was good. It was as I say, I'm not really much of a DC fan, so. It's one of those things I go into watching Batman vs Superman how I think the general population goes into watching most superhero films. Like, I'm going to watch it, it's going to be cool, but when it comes to like Easter eggs and backstory and stuff like that, I've got no idea. So I'm going into it with an open mind. I personally think Ben Affleck's going to do a good job as Batman. That's my personal thought, but there's a lot of naysayers out there. I believe in you, Ben. I believe in you. Next question was, if you have to choose an Avengers team, 5 members in your team you can choose, and what would you call the team name for the team, like for example the New Avengers? Okay, so you got a few questions, so I'm going to go through them one at a time and answer them. Okay, so if I had to choose an Avengers team and I have to choose 5 members, See, it's a good question right now because I'm actually reading Avengers at the moment, so that's pretty good time to ask that question. So let me think. As you say, like as you just mentioned there, I'm quite a fan of the New Avengers, like the 2004 run of the New Avengers, as opposed to the main Avengers team. So, well, I don't know. I think really, even though I love the New Avengers, which had Captain America in the start of the New Avengers, but primarily it was people like Luke Cage and stuff like that. So I think though, if you're having the Avengers, you've kind of got to have Cap in it. You kind of do. Although I don't know. It's like, even though they've been against each other and they've been with each other and stuff like that, Cap and Iron Man just seem like the Avengers mainstay. And I thought, I don't know. All right, ignoring that, who do I want? If I was to pick an Avengers team, like, and this isn't saying who I think should be the Avengers. This is just if it was my dream team. So let's chuck in Spider-Man. I'm trying to think of like different power sets. So Spider-Man, Wolverine. Do you know what? I'm just going to end up picking my favourites, aren't I? Because right now I'm leaning towards Spider-Man, Wolverine, The Thing. This isn't really an Avengers team. This is just like my team. Spider-Man, Wolverine, The Thing. Who should I put the last two as? I'm thinking Captain Marvel for something, like Miss Marvel's Captain Marvel. I don't know why. But I am for some reason. Yeah. I don't know, out of the last two, some variation of Cap, Iron Man, and Captain Marvel. Do you know what? Captain America and Captain Marvel. So, Spider-Man, Wolverine, Thing, Captain Marvel, and Captain America. And obviously that's Miss Marvel's variation of Captain Marvel. I don't know why. There's probably a much better team out there, but for some reason they're the ones that come into my mind right now. I don't know why. It's not like the iconic Avengers team. I suppose really isn't really an Avengers team. It's just a team that I like to put together. I would like to read, I'm guessing. But, yeah, so there's that. What do you think of Black Suit Spider-Man costume? I think it's okay. I think it's kind of been done to death a little bit now. Like, everyone's always like, oh, wear the black suit, wear the black suit. And it's like, he's had so many cool costumes. Like, other than the fact that I love the red and blue one, I think it's iconic. It's the black suit. It's just everyone keeps saying, I don't get why everyone thinks it's so cool. It's just black. Like, one of my favourite Spider-Man outfits is actually Miles Morales. And bear in mind, I haven't read any Miles Morales either. But I love the look of that suit. Like, in Amazing Spider-Man 2, the game, I flicked through a lot of the suits because I remember from my first walkthrough of Amazing Spider-Man 1 how much people asked for the suits. And so I knew I wasn't going to make this mistake, so I flicked through as many of the suits as possible in Amazing Spider-Man 2. However, when I played that on my own, I used Ultimate Miles Morales costume for like pretty much the whole thing. So that's my favourite suit. The black suit I think is okay. I think it's a little bit boring, to be honest with you, and it's been done to death. Kind of like anything to do with the symbiotes, really. If you had to make a Venom movie, what would the movie be about? And about if you had to make the movie. Okay, I think an Agent Venom movie would be kind of cool. It'd be cool if it started off as who's the Matt Gargan was the newest version of Venom before Flash Thompson took it over. It'd be cool if it started off with Matt Gargan going around doing what Matt Gargan does. And you're like, oh, here comes Venom, and he gets neutralised right at the start of the film. Taken down by S.H.I.E.L.D. or Captain America or whoever it was who actually took his suit eventually. I think it was after Siege he lost his suit. I can't quite remember. But yeah, and then after that, the rest of the film is about Flash Thompson. Flash Thompson, he could get introduced in the new Spider-Man film. And then as time goes on, because obviously he'd be young because Peter Parker is young, but as time goes on, eventually, oh yeah, see, that would be cool. They could do that'd be brilliant. They introduce Flash Thompson into the new Spider-Man film. This is how I would do it. And then the only issue is that obviously he's going to be young, but that'd be kind of cool, like a teenage secret agent. That might be. It sounds a bit Disney Channel, but I mean Marvel's Disney now, so they'd pretty jump at the chance. But yeah, they could introduce Flash Thompson in the new Spider-Man film. They then, at the start of the Venom film, Matt Gargan gets neutralised. They take the Venom symbiote from him and apply it to Flash Thompson so he could be the secret agent. Obviously, he'd have to be a lot older by this point because he would have had to have gone to Afghanistan, lost his legs, already be a part of the military. So there'd obviously have to be a bit more of a backstory going on here. But yeah, so for whatever reason, Flash Thompson is now given this suit and he's using the Venom symbiote for like Black Ops covert missions that are actually sanctioned by Captain America, but sort of like on the mostly Black Ops, so in secret. So basically, that's what the whole film is. It's him going around doing these Black Ops missions. There'll be some overarching story which I can't think of right now. At the end, at the very, very end, he ends up somehow going off into space. Maybe they try and get rid of the symbiote suit, and they get rid of Flash Thompson won't let it go, so they put both Flash Thompson and the symbiote suit into space, in which they're found by the Guardians of the Galaxy, and he joins their team. That sounds really weird, but I think it'd be cool. Because then you actually got like how Flash Thompson first got the symbiote suit, and I think the most recent run of Guardians has Agent Venom as a part of their team. So that would be that'd be really cool. Like they just think, look, this symbiote, it can't be controlled. Like, we're getting rid of it. Flash Thompson's like, no, I'm not letting this thing go. So they're like, fine, we're gonna have to sacrifice Flash Thompson as well. If he's not willing to let the symbiote go, we'll just send both of them off planet, kind of like they did with Hulk, except for he's intercepted and found by Guardians, so he joins their team. That'd be kind of cool, but that's never gonna get made. But off the top of my head, I'm kind of happy with that. What do you think of the Penguin and the Riddler in Gotham? What is your favourite character in it? Mine is Jim Gordon. Yeah, I agree with you. Mine's Jim Gordon as well. That's my favourite character. I think I mentioned it quite a bit last week. But, yeah, the Penguin and the Riddler. There was that one scene. I haven't seen the newest episode of Gotham. I'm not sure how far England is behind America. But our newest version of Gotham. I haven't seen the newest one, but the one before that. There was a bit where the Riddler and Penguin were both in the GCPD together, and they're talking, and it was like both of them was like, it was like they were trying to have a battle to see how quirky each other could be, because they're both quite quirky characters, but when they were together, I don't know, it was like two quirky characters next to each other, and never really quite work, I find. And you got the Penguin, who seems to be making his character more and more camp as each episode goes on, which isn't a bad thing. It's just, don't know, just not what I'm used to with the Penguin. And as I say, I don't read DC, but from what I've ever seen from films or from games or ever anyone talk about, he's never seen that way. And I mean, that's fair enough. Like, the same with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they're making new adaptations of older characters, so that's fair enough. But him and the Riddler next to each other just seemed, I don't know. I don't dislike them, but it's not how I would have ever pictured them being played. But I'm guessing what it is, it's going to be like a whole the whole point of Gotham, I'm seeing, is it's supposed to be a whole evolution. It's almost like an origin story for everyone. Like, this is how Penguin and Riddler are now, but it's going to be a general progression where they're going to grow as characters to become the people they become. If you see what I mean. So, I'm guessing that's why they're doing it this way. But yeah, my favourite's Jim Gordon. Like I liked Harvey Bullock. Like, as an actor, I liked Harvey. Like, who I forget the actor's actually name, but I like the guy who played Harvey Bullock. But I don't know. He then started letting me down at the start, but as a character, he's been kind of growing on me again. I don't know, but I've said that before. I felt like at the start everyone was like hamming it up a bit too much. But anywho, moving on. Okay, so next question is from the General of Fire, and I've just nearly knocked my headset off. That's why there was a break then. The General of Fire. Okay, my life has gone to, bad word. My life has gone to shit. First, I failed my advancement test, then my crush did not show up for our date. The money I found turned out to be counterfeit. I found my physical training by 1 minute, got beat up by my best friend. Oh well, it's okay. Raindrops keep falling on my head. I was caught sleeping on the job. Raindrops keep falling on my head because I'm me, nothing to worry about me. Alright, man, it sounds like you've had a pretty bad week there, General of Fire. Looks like the Dave luck has been transferring over to you. WJS Gamer said, was Gambit that superhero you didn't like but couldn't remember the name of a few weeks back? No, it wasn't, but he does kind of fall sort of in that territory. Like, I don't dislike. It's one of those things that quite often when I say I don't like someone, it doesn't actually mean I dislike them. It means just that. It means that I don't like them. But that doesn't necessarily mean I dislike them. So and Gambit's kind of one of them. I don't understand why everyone likes him, but I wouldn't say I dislike him. I just don't get this Gambit hype. But however, I am looking forward to the Gambit movie. I think it will be fun. It's not one of those things where I'm going to be counting down the minutes like I am with like Age of Ultron or Civil War, but I am looking forward to it. It'll be kind of cool. Blast Eye Studio. Sorry I've not watched the podcast. It sounds like there are a lot of Daredevil spoilers. And also, ME4 story outline sounds cool. Also, have seen the new Fantastic Four film. Have I seen it or have you seen it? If you've seen it, I don't know how that's possible. Also, you made a joke about naming videos in one of your recent vids of I was joking. And seeing you should name them. Lastly, sorry if sometimes I don't make sense. I have dyslexia and autism. Okay, that's perfectly fine. Yeah, that last bit I don't quite understand. About making a joke about naming videos in one of your recent videos. I can't remember what that was about. Sorry, mate. But yes, in the first episode of the podcast, there were a lot of Daredevil spoilers. So I do not blame you for not seeing it. But yeah, the podcast is Spoil City. In the podcast, we talk about everything. The only thing we didn't talk about last time was Age of Ultron because we went to the midnight release, and as of recording the podcast, it was like the next day. So it had barely even been out for a day in England yet. So like it was way too soon to spoil that. But yeah, as of next week, all gloves are off. Anything we talk about in the podcast, we talk about in depth. So it's Spoil City in the podcast. So yeah, if you don't want something ruined for you, then yeah, it's a very good idea not to watch the podcast. However, the one good thing is, as of this last one, what I've started doing is I've made like a template on the videos. So if we are talking about something that you don't want to spoil, but yet you want to watch the rest of the stuff, I have pictures now that appear on the screen. So what you can do is you can just click through the video, and as soon as that picture's changed, you know that we've finished talking about it. So if you do still want to watch the podcast, but you don't really want it spoiled, then there you go, you can do that. You can just skip through the video until the picture's changed, and then you know we're done talking about it. But yeah, the Mass Effect 4 storyline does sound cool, and also have seen the new Fantastic Four film. Obviously I haven't seen it yet. Have you actually seen the Fantastic Four film? If so, you're gonna have to tell me how you did that. Lucas, I can never pronounce your last name, said, will you cry when Hugh Jackman retires from Wolverine? I will be close. I will be close to crying, I'm not gonna lie. Hugh Jackman has done a fantastic role with the Wolverine. Other than the fact that, like, you got X-Men the first trilogy, and then he goes back to his origin story, and he's more ripped, like, in his origins than he is now. Which, like, from the first film, which just makes sense. That's the progression of just superheroes in general. But, yeah, he's done a fantastic job. I think he is the most recurring actor for a superhero role, I believe, with 9 movies. I believe it is. I think it was 9. Like, even if you count cameos and stuff like that. So he has done a fantastic job, and it was a shame because I heard something like recently that said he was never going to quit. Like, he was just going to keep doing this until he couldn't, which is the same thing I've heard about Robert Downey Jr. with Iron Man as well, who said he's just going to keep going until he's told to stop. But yeah, but then obviously he released that he is retiring from Wolverine, which is fair enough. I mean, now if they're going to get someone to be Wolverine, they need to get a short, hairy, gruff little man who is like Wolverine. I mean, Hugh Jackman's done a great role, but from now on, I think they need to get a Wolverine who is Wolverine-esque. But which makes me wonder, if he's only doing one more film, does that mean that Wolverine isn't going to be in future installments or X-Men, or does that mean they're just going to recast him? Which, I mean, I'm assuming they're going to recast him, but then that also makes me think, how can he be in Age of Apocalypse if he's then just going to get recast? You think it would make more sense for him to have another solo film out of Age of Apocalypse, so then they can recast him for the main continuity in X-Men, and it won't look like the actor's changed or something. I don't know, but yeah, I'm going to be out. It's going to be a sad day when Hugh Jackman leaves. He's done a fantastic role with Wolverine. I think he has single-handedly carried that franchise on his back for a very long time. J-Dude Gaming Inc. said, Taco versus Burrito. Tell me now or meet your fate. Probably Burrito. I haven't really had too many tacos to really comment, but Burrito probably, I'm feeling. No real reason, just burrito. I prefer it. JD Gaming Inc. said, I've noticed how on every video in this series, one after the other, I seem to be getting less and less comments every time, especially from me, lol. Yeah, well, the things that make sense. As time progresses, eventually you guys have asked me everything you're going to want to ask me. There's only so many questions you can ask, so it makes sense that the questions get less and less and less, especially since how I am doing this weekly now. But it's cool, because as I said, that leads to the general progression of me using the webcam and then live streaming, and then I can answer, that way I can answer your questions live, and if there aren't that many questions coming in, I can go back and I can answer the questions from last time's video, and move things on like that. It's just the general progression of where this sort of thing's heading. But that's fine. I mean, as I said, like, originally the Captain's Quarters was supposed to be me going over my videos of the last week, like a 10-minute video where I go through and just answer all your comments from the week's worth of videos, because the whole point was that I didn't have time to answer your comments anymore. Whereas back in the day, back before I had like 2,000 subscribers, I'd answer every comment, whether it was on a video 5 years old or whether it was on a new video. I'd answer everything. I'd sit there with like 100 emails and just go through and just answer them one by one. And I was doing a little typing motion in front of me, which you can't see. Which you might be able to see from next week when I get my webcam up. But yeah, so I used to answer all of them. That was the whole reason I set up the Captain's Quarters. So I can go through the last week's worth of videos and just answer all the questions and comments from that video. And you'll see that as true if you go back and watch the very first Captain's Quarters. But then I got so many comments that it ended up becoming like sometimes like a 2-hour-long video just answering the comments from last time's video. So that's how it became like a Q&A. So the comments are getting less and less, that's fine. I mean, if you guys got nothing to ask me, you got nothing to ask me. But yeah, I'm open to any questions. Anything you guys want to ask me, feel free to ask. The worst thing that would happen is you ask me a question and I might say, no, that's a bit too personal, and I won't answer it. So, but yeah, it's cool, because I can start answering questions from the week's worth of comments again, which is what I wanted to do, and I can start live streaming, so that's perfectly fine. Also, last question you asked was, that's why you got to come to America, Dave, to get all the Marvel TV goodness. Oh yeah, I mean, if I want to go to America for so many reasons, but yeah, just to watch some of the TV shows. Like, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is like 4 weeks ahead of us. Like, on Tuesdays, I have to avoid Twitter, because it gets shown on the East Coast or the West Coast, and then it gets shown on the West Coast or the East Coast, whichever way round it goes. So the Twitter feed gets filled up with all the actors live tweeted. So Twitter on Tuesday, I can't go on. I have to avoid, because obviously I get spoilers. And like the Marvel YouTube page always uploads clips of next week's episode. And of course, they're 5 weeks ahead of me, so it's like, Coulson escapes, blah 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 blah, and I'm like, where I am at, Coulson's not even in trouble. Like, what's he escaping from? Thanks for the spoilers, you know. But yeah, so yeah, if I, like, there's many reasons I want to go to America, but that's definitely one of them. Monty Pig of the Doodle Clan said, did you hear about the new Terminator movie with Schwarzenegger as Terminator again? I have heard about it. For anyone who obviously you can't see, he's linked to the YouTube video. So if any of you guys do want to see the new Terminator trailer with Schwarzenegger, or at least talk about it or whatever it is, He's got a link in last week's video. I'm not going to sit here and watch it now while I'm talking to you guys, because it would just be like 2 minutes of silence where I'm like, huh, as I watch it. So, but yeah, I'll watch it at the end of this. But what do I think about it? I don't know. I think if I saw it, all I'm going to think is that's the governor of California, or was the governor of California. I don't know, it's weird. I saw Schwarzenegger in this meerkat advert. I don't know where else it's shown, but in England we have this, what is it? Is it car insurance or home insurance or something like that? And it's got these bloody meerkats that drive me insane. And in the newest advert, they've got Arnold Schwarzenegger in it. So I was just thinking, how have you gone from Terminator, Governor of California, to a meerkat advert? The progression, you kind of gone backwards. But now Schwarzenegger, how can you not love him? Brandon Rakowski, I hope I said that right, said, did you watch season 5 of The Walking Dead? What did you think? I liked it. I think it's got better again. There was obviously the god-awful season 2, which dragged. And I think it was the end of season 3, or midway through season 4, it was getting really slow. Them being in that prison, it was really, really dragging. And I think season 5's done a good job picking it back. Yeah, I think it was the end of season 3, start of season 4. But yeah, I think they've done a good job of picking it back up again. I like the, again, obviously spoilers if you haven't seen it, I like the progression of Rick and the group, how they're kind of becoming, not necessarily the group, but just Rick and maybe like the top lieutenants, I guess you can call them, of the group. How they're kind of going for this progression, whereas before they would try and save everyone. Like I watched an episode, a clip from the very first episode, where Rick's like, we don't kill humans, and he would kill a walker just because it was somebody he used to know and stuff like that. Whereas now, he's like, well, if this town doesn't listen to us, we'll just take it from them. And it's just like, I like how it's gone from this progression where he was this still trying to live the human life of human decency and human morals, and now it's like my group comes first, and it's like they're like almost becoming like the bandits, the bad guys they tried to defend his group from at the start. He's almost becoming that, and I think the introduction of, is it Morgan, the guy from season 1? I think the introduction of him coming back is gonna sort of open Rick's eyes a little bit to how far he's gone, like how far he's changed. So no, I like it. I'm quite a huge fan of The Walking Dead. There was that one episode where I swear that their budget must have just been increased, or they had some props to get rid of, because not only did a few people die, but it was much, much, much gorier than it normally was. And yeah, it's like they had a bunch of props they had to get rid of, or they were like, quick, we've got to use this money up, or we've got to give it back. So they're like, right, how gruesomely can we kill some people? And they dragged it out with like intestines getting ripped out and like faces getting torn apart. It was brutal. But no, I like Walking Dead. I always do. I always eagerly wait its return. Brandon Rakowski also said, please play a Stanley Parable. I have no idea what that is. You might need a little bit more information on that. I have absolutely no idea what that is. Sonic FTW said, Dave posting every day. This hasn't happened in years. No, it's true. It has been some time since I've gone back to the posting every day. But yeah, it's kind of different. Whereas before, like, the good old days where I'd have Mass Effect every single day, and Batman, either Arkham City or Arkham Origins every other day. Those were the days, eh? But no, I'm posting every day, but it's kind of a bit more structured, kind of more weekly episodic. So I've got the Skyrim and The Walking Dead. That is like one after the other. So Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. You got the Captain's Classics on Wednesday. You got the Untitled Podcast on Saturday, and the Q&A, Captain's Quarters, on Sunday. So yeah, posting every day. How did this happen, eh? But making things weekly like this has actually made it a lot more manageable for me, even though there's still videos every day, which is, I said I wouldn't do when I come back, but it's made it more manageable, because where it was Mass Effect every day before, that was cool, but the only problem was, not only did a lot of people say they couldn't keep up, because they have work, they get home, they've got like 3 episodes to watch, and then if they miss that, they've got then another episode the next day, and it's too much. Weekly gives time. Like, if you only watch Skyrim, you've only got 2 episodes a week, so you've got time to catch up and watch it. And the same with everything else. But also, from my point, it's easier, especially with all the deadlines I've got going right now. I can sit down, record Skyrim for like 2-3 hours, and I'm sorted for the next month with videos. So if I get busy and I can't record, it's not like, if I was to sit there for 2-3 hours and have the videos go up, like, say like it was just Skyrim, instead of having this like variation of videos, within a week, that recording session's been used up, whereas now it lasts like a month. So it's cool, and I like it like this. There's a bit of variation. It's different. I like it. I'm very happy with the scheduling right now. But anyway, you also said, what do you think about the red Daredevil suit? If you've been watching all the way up to the last episode, I'm typing this at 5 minutes into the video, so sorry if it's already been asked. I'm not sure if I spoke about the Daredevil suit last time. As I say, I know I definitely spoke about it in a great detail in the first episode of the Untitled podcast, but I like the suit. Yeah, actually, in the first episode of the Untitled podcast, we talk about the Daredevil suit and the whole thing in great detail, but I liked the suit. I like how they've modernised it, because I thought the same thing about Captain America, because in First Avenger, it fit, it was alright. In Avengers, Captain America looked ridiculous, but in Winter Soldier, and especially in Age of Ultron, his costume's been modernised, and he looks a lot better. He fits in a hell of a lot better. Like, it's the same Captain America suit, but it just fits with the 21st century, and that's what's cool. And I think that's what they've done with Daredevil. If he was running around in like red spandex or red leather, it fit when he's fighting crime in the middle of the night, but if he was just to stand there or sit on a bus in the middle of the day, it'd look like a dick. So I think the fact they've modernised it, made it look like armour, made it look like he's wearing almost like a... It's still got like the pointy horns, but it's kind of more like a helmet as opposed to just a mask. So it's cool. I like it. I think it looks very good, and I think it's the sort of suit that will fit in with the whole universe as opposed to just being his own little continuity. So I like the Daredevil suit. It's cool. Also, I haven't been typing on comments because of time and lack of originality, because I still watch these. That's perfectly fine. And I watched the first vid, and I remember you playing on the Kino to Toten, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was a mixture. I remember Darius, or Derais, or however you want to say it, was heavily featured. But I think it was just a selection of all the maps. If you're thinking of the Failed Class 2010, I think it was just a selection of all the maps. But I did do a music tutorial for Kino to Toten. I think it was one of my first videos that ever got quite a few views. But yeah. But yeah, that's alright if you don't comment on these videos. That's perfectly fine. If you just want to sit and listen, that's it's entirely up to you. Just subscribe to for whatever reason you want to be subscribed for. So if you want to comment, awesome. If you just want to listen, still awesome. Mission Unstoppable 1 said, "Hey Dave, I got a very good question for you. Not about Spider-Man. Let's see how you do. If you got a chance to spend a full day, only one day, as a friend with either Hugh Jackman or Mark Meer, who would you choose? P.S. I can't wait for you to answer this." Oh, you evil man. That is a hard question. Oh, you evil man. This is difficult. I'm going to go with Hugh Jackman. One, because he just seems like such a lovely man, which sounds really weird to say, but everyone, like any like interviews I've ever seen, behind the scenes stuff, like literally one of the first things that anyone ever says about Hugh Jackman is just how nice of a person he is, and I think that's great. Other than the fact that, he's got a whole catalogue of great movie history. Other than the Wolverines and the X-Men, you've got Les Miserables. What's it? Do you know what I take the mick calling Les Miserables or whatever it is. I always quit Les Miserable so much, taking the mick. I've actually forgot how it's supposed to be pronounced. I always, like anything like that, I always on purposely take the piss, like Thierry Henry. I always call Terry Henry, just like, because I think it's funny. I actually forgot, I can't actually think how you're supposed to say Les Miserable. Like, is it Les Miserable? I forgot how to say it. I actually generally have. But yeah, anyway, getting back to it, he's got such a huge variety of just great movies, and he seems like a really nice man. So plus, I think my girlfriend would kill me if I didn't see Hugh Jackman, because I'm sure she'd come with me. But And that's nothing against Mark Meer. That's a really, really hard question, because I'd love to speak to Mark Meer as well, just to ask how he does it, like just on the fly like that. It'd be brilliant. But it's very, very close. That was a good question. But yeah, Hugh Jackman wins just. Mission Unstoppable 1 also said Charles and Eric's characters were first introduced around the civil rights movement, and since the X-Men could be comparable with to any equality of races rights groups, Eric was based upon Malcolm X, who opts for a more forceful approach for the equality of races, while Charles was based more upon Martin Luther King, who opts for the more peaceful approach. Oh, that's quite good actually. I never really thought of it that way. This week's one is the 5 Hellfire Club's original members were based upon people Stanley and Jack Kirby were familiar with. Who are they? As usual, find out next time on the Captain's Quarters. I like these little questions. These are cool, little factoids dropped on us every week. So, yeah, as Mission Unstoppable just said, there are 5 Hellfire Club's original members that were based on people that Stanley and Jack Kirby were familiar with. Looks like we're going to have to wait next week to find out who they were. Okie dokie. And the last question from Mission Unstoppable 1 was, and finally, I love the Untitled podcast, and as for the Patreon thing, I think all of your subscribers who have been around for long enough to know what type of person you are will understand that you are not asking for money if you make one up. Okay, you got a few questions, so I'll go through one at a time. Yeah, so, actually, no, yeah, there's one thing. So I just realised that the next question backs on from that. So, yeah, I think all your subscribers who have been around for long enough to know what type of person you are will understand that you are not asking for any money if you are making one. Speaking of that, you are my favourite both as a YouTuber and a person, and I would really love to help you for all the happiness you've gave me, but I can't because the value of my country's currency is so low and not easy enough to earn, which makes a pain in the arse to live here. But I am sure there are others who can donate willingly to their favourite YouTuber. Love your videos and glad to have you back every day. One of the few things I look forward to here are the Marvel movies and your videos. Screw the sports. Yeah, screw the sports. But yeah, you brought up a few good points. Like, one thing you just said there was that sort of hitting the nail on the head. That you understand, like, as a subscriber who's been here for a long time, that if I was to set up a Patreon or a PayPal or something like that, that's not me asking for money. That's literally just a revenue if you guys wanted to donate, which isn't something I've actually set up yet, but I'm thinking about it. But, like, I hope, as like Mission Unstoppable just said, that if I set that up, that's not me asking for money. That's literally me saying, look, that's there if you want to do, but you are not obliged to at all. But I am thinking about it. But then, exactly, the next thing you said there is, as you said, you'd want to, if I did set up, but because like your country's currency is so low, or maybe you don't have enough money, or something like that. That's exactly it. That's exactly the thing. I am not, if I was to set this up, I'm not expecting anything. Like, the way I've always figured it, say, I don't know, maybe you have a paper round, or maybe you're older and you actually have a full-time job, or anything like that, and you have a little bit of money left over, spend it on yourself. Like, if I was to set up this, don't spend the little money you have giving it to me. As much as you might like my videos, or you might want me to get better equipment, it's like I've always been a firm believer of charity starts at home. And it's like, as much as it's nice to give to other people and it's nice to help other people, if you're barely scraping by, don't give the last little bit of money you have to somebody else. Spend it on yourself. Go out for a meal. Go see Avengers Age of Ultron. Buy yourself something nice. Because otherwise, if you never get yourself nice stuff, you're not living, you're just existing. So, that's kind of, I'm glad you brought that up, because it meant I can say that. And it's just, as they say, I'm sure there are people who will be willing to donate, and I'll be eternally grateful, and I'd love it, especially when I can get the new equipment and give you guys better videos. That'd be great. And I'm saying this, I haven't even set up a PayPal or a Patreon, but I'm thinking about it. So, but yeah, if anyone was ever to donate, I'd be glad, and hopefully I'd be able to show that appreciation when I get new equipment and make better videos. But that's exactly what I've always said, and that's why I've always never really wanted to set one up previously. It's because I've always felt like people feel like they're obliged to donate, and that's not it at all. It's like, so that's the thing, is like, sometimes I pass people in the street, like when I'm like, sometimes when I work in London, and like they're sitting there and they're asking for money and stuff like that, and I want to, and I feel like a jerk for not giving them money. But the fact of the matter is the point where me and my girlfriend right in our life, pennies matter. Like, you might think, oh, what's a pound here, what's 10p, what's 50p there, it's nothing. But it adds up, and like, if there's a difference between us just spending out little bits here and there, and then just getting by, or maybe being a bit stingy with our money, and then as a result we're able to go out for dinner once a month, or like going to see a movie or something. The little things that it doesn't seem like much, but it makes your life so much better. So it's kind of got off on a bit of a serious, weird topic there. But yeah, it's like, if I ever was to set this up, I am in no way expecting donations. Like if I was to set up like a PayPal or a Patreon and I got nothing donated, I would not be offended in the slightest. Like, it's your money. Like, you spend it on yourselves. It's like you see those adverts where they like set up a pension to give money to your kids when you die, and I'm like, screw that. When I die, I'm blowing all my money before I die, because I'm not going to be able to use it when I'm dead. Like, as much as I'd love my future kids to have that sort of stuff, it's like, when I die, I'm not going to know I'm dead. It's like, gone off on a bit of a dark topic, but no, it's like, if I ever set that up, I'd be everly grateful for the donations I did, or if I do get any, but no, just don't feel guilty about it. Keep that money for yourself. Anyway, moving on. Trying to lighten things up a little bit. Kyle Portella13 said, yes, I did like the podcast. Thank you very much. You should name it Many Cool Story. Yeah. And I'm famous. Google, type me in. Seriously, do it. I will. At the end of this podcast, I will Google your name, Kyle. I'll see your famousness. Mission Unstoppable 1 said, have you seen Interstellar? If so, what do you think about it? And if you did not see it, and you like sci-fi movies or games or stories, then it's a must-see. I was not really interested in it when it came out last year, and after I saw the movie, was still in theatres after 3 weeks in my city. I was like, wait, why is this movie still here when GOG was not even there for a week? I'm not even sure what GOG is. So I went and watched it, and it was like, oh, that's probably why. It's very good, and especially music and some of the scenes made it almost as epic as the Mass Effect 2 final mission. Oh, really? That's big shoes to fill, that is. But no, I wanted to see Interstellar. That's, again, going back to what I was talking about money. That's one of those things I didn't get to see, because I really, really wanted to see that. But we just couldn't afford the expenditure of going to the cinema. But no, I saw it in what's it, HMV the other day, and I was really tempted to buy it. But see, I wish I'd read this recommendation sooner. I probably would have bought it. But yeah, it does look like a really good film. And saying that some of it's almost as epic as the Mass Effect 2 final. Oh, you're building it up now. You're building it up. The General of Fire said, and now I'm stuck in the rain outside my house. Oh yeah, cool. You just sent me that message earlier about how much things had sort of been building up for you as having a bad day. You are stuck in the rain. Screw the Dave luck. Jackson luck sucks. Hey, what can I say, mate? I'm sorry. The Dave luck is contagious. You guys have been around here for a long time. I'm sorry if it starts to spill over to you guys. The the Dave luck is infectious. The Dave luck is going to be a plague that takes out the world one day. Mark my words. Just everybody tripping over the concrete and slipping on ice. And oh, you do have a question though. All right, here is my question. What would you do stuck outside for 7 hours with no way to get in? Probably plan on never leaving my keys somewhere again. I have done that before. Got stuck outside my house. Well, actually, no, I didn't get stuck outside my house. I got stuck outside my parents' house, but they went on holiday, and me and my girlfriend went around to walk the dog. And when we walked the dog, we left the keys inside the house, and yeah, we were stuck for quite some time with a dog. But no, I wouldn't wish it on anyone. It's so aggravating because there is nothing you can do until they get back, and it's just it's infuriating. But what would I do? I don't know. If I had a little bit of money on me, I'd probably go to a shop, get myself something to drink, buy a cake. I don't know. Buy a magazine. Give myself something to do. I'd probably actually know in all the likelihood I'd probably sit there playing the unlimited Spider-Man game on my phone probably. But anywho, on to the last question. Oh yeah, by the way, I hope you eventually got in your house. If you're hearing this, I can only assume you have. But Sheik Nabi, I hope I pronounced your name right, said, "Hey Dave, what do you think about the new Miss Marvel Kamala Khan, Pakistani Muslim teenager?" Do you know what? I haven't actually read anything yet, but when I first heard that announced, I thought it was a very good move. I thought that was a good idea because Marvel has always been on the forefront of new ideas, like different things, and as of my knowledge right now, there might have been other characters, but there's never been a huge mainstay, main character in the Marvel universe of like a Pakistani or Muslim like heritage, at least that I know of. Not someone who is on the scale of like a Spider-Man or a Captain America, you know, not someone on that grander scale. So I think it's a good idea, and I think what's even better is not only making a Pakistani Muslim, but making a teenage girl. I think that opens up such a huge variety of storylines with regards to, obviously I'm not well educated in like religion or like different parts of the world, so I don't want to be naive and say the wrong thing, but from what I understand, there's a lot more that can be done in regards to storyline as opposed to what's the word? I'm completely losing the word here. But like basically just like the heritage and their way of life and the way particular different societies live their life and the rules and the restrictions, especially from what I hear might be on a teenage girl in that particular religion or that particular area. I think it can bring out a lot of great stories. Throw in the fact that you're now a superhero. I think this could open up a whole world of stories, like not just to do with the superhero, but to do with her personal life as well. I think it's a very good idea, and since how the mantle of Miss Marvel has just become available, I think that's great. And it's also kind of good because the original Miss Marvel was always fighting to be recognised as a mainstay superhero. She was always a B or C list superhero at best. Like she joined the new Avengers, she was a part of the Avengers, but she as a person always felt like she didn't live up to the other heroes she was with. Kind of like Spider-Man in a sense. So I think that's great. I think that's great that she's picking up that particular mantle as well. It's good. I'm quite excited to read it. Apparently, she's one of the people that's been cast to be in the all new, all different Avengers, along with Miles Morales and looks like Sam Alexander, like Nova, and a few others as well. It looks like I think Falcon was there maybe, and Lady Thor possibly. I'm not sure, or an Iron Man. I can't remember. I remember seeing the cover. I can't remember who was on there now, but yeah, it was like an all new, all different Avengers. Basically, there's a whole bunch of different people. It kind of looks like basically the old Avengers superheroes, but mixed with. And by the way, if anyone heard that, that was my leather chair just squeaking. Completely breaking the tone. I just sat forwards and I just over the mic, like in my earpiece, just said. I completely broke the tone of what I was just saying, but that you probably didn't even hear it, but that was my leather chair squeaking. Trust me, if that was me having a bowel movement, I would own up and laugh about it. But that's the chair. No, I completely broke the tone of what I was saying. But yeah, there was like an all new, all different Avengers. But it looks like it's the same superheroes, but new people. Like Miles Morales is Spider-Man. Kamala Khan is Miss Marvel. Looks like there's possibly a new Iron Man. I'm not sure. A Lady Thor, Falcon, who is now Captain America. It's like same superheroes, just different people. But no, I haven't read any. I've heard that apparently it is has actually an issue came out yet. Because I remember hearing someone saying it was actually really quite good. But I'm not sure if actually an issue came out yet. Actually, no, it must have. But yeah, no, I think it's a good idea. I think it's a very good idea. I think it's a very smart move, and it's going to draw in a lot of different fans and hit on a lot of issues that might make for some really great stories. But anyway, with that being said and done, that brings this episode of the Captain's Quarters to an end. So, as always, if you guys have any questions or comments that you are just dying to have me answer, then leave them in the comment section below, and I'll get through and start answering them next week. Anything you want to hear more in depth or more in detail, check out the Untouchable podcast with me and Tommy. We talk a lot about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, about the DC Universe. We talk about films quite a lot. We also sometimes hit on comic books, and I think I talked a little bit about Mass Effect in there as well. So if you guys really just want to hear two geeks just sit down and talk about anything superhero or Marvel or a movie related, check out the Untitled podcast as well. And as I say, possibly next week we might be starting these things with a webcam. You might actually start to see my face, so look forward to that. But anyway, as I say, any questions or comments you want to ask me, leave them in the comments section below and I'll get through and start answering them next week. But as for now, my name's Captain Dave, this has been the Captain's Quarters, and I will catch you guys later.